Well, the October 7th atrocities committed against Israeli citizens by Hamas militants have sparked a massive retaliation. Much of the operation has been focused inside the densely populated Palestinian territory of Gaza. The conflict raises questions about what the church teaches regarding a just war. The Catechism of the Catholic Church says legitimate defense can be not only a right, but a grave duty for one who is responsible for the lives of others. For this reason, those who legitimately hold authority also have the right to use arms to repel aggressors against the civil community entrusted to their responsibility. For more on the application of church teaching regarding the Israel-Hamas conflict, we turn now to Dr. Joseph Capizzi, Dean of the School of Theology and Religious Studies at the Catholic University of America. Dr. Capizzi, thank you so much for your time today. So could you give us a brief overview of the Catholic teaching on war? What are the basic elements of what's called the just war theory?
Sure. The most important thing is that war, or the use of force in war, be understood as serving actual political goals, all of which themselves are in the service of peace. So everything that you do in war has to serve the goal of peace ultimately, and therefore it has to follow the normal morality that the rest of us have to follow in our lives, or that the church teaches politicians have to follow as they seek political ends. So all instances of force have to be guided by moral principles, like not to kill innocent people, for instance, by intention.
So, Dr. Capizzi, would you say, this teaching supports Israel's decision to eradicate Hamas in the wake of the terrorist organization's brutal October 7th attack and the kidnapping of civilians?
Absolutely. It's clear that Hamas and the state of Israel cannot coexist. And Israel's judgment that whatever it's doing now has to have as one of its political goals the eradication of Hamas is an apt judgment. There's just no question. Hamas is designed and animated by the desire to extinguish the state of Israel. That's what it's about. And therefore, the state of Israel cannot coexist with that. That is a good political goal for Israel to be pursuing.
And Israel's operations, as you know, in the densely populated urban neighborhoods in Gaza have really caused significant civilian casualties. How should Israel, or, how should they balance the right to defend themselves with a duty to keep civilian deaths and injuries at a minimum?
That's the balance they have to strike, right? They have to pursue the execution of these political aims by military means in a manner that is attentive to a couple of things. One, of course, is the proportion of innocent people who will die as a consequence of the use of military force. That will happen. There's no question. It will happen. It has happened. And there's some point at which Israel has to be concerned about exactly how many people it's killing. It also cannot target innocent people. And whenever it targets innocent people in its execution of its political goals, it's violating not only international humanitarian law or the laws of war, it's also violating fundamental morality.
And before I let you go, since the attack by Hamas and Israel's response to that, we have seen a real surge in anti-Semitic and attacks and anti-Semitism, especially on college campuses. That being said, how should we as Catholics respond to this?
Well, of course, we have to reject anti-Semitism or any ideologies of hatred, right? I mean, that's fundamental, not only to Catholic faith, but just to being a good human being, right? Ideologies that identify people by virtue of race or ethnic groupings or even beliefs and hate them as a consequence of those identifications are rejected, at the very basis of our faith. So we have to denounce those things when we hear them. We have to do what we can to support good people who are trying to do good things in this very, very difficult situation.
Well, Dr. Capizzi, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your insights. God bless.
Thank you, Tracy.